Hi, I'm Baylee Wojcik, and today I'm presenting on the ruby-throated hummingbird. So on the left here is a picture of a male ruby-throated hummingbird, and on the right is the female ruby-throated hummingbird. And you'll notice that only the males have the red pattern on their necks, um, which is interesting. And they live in middle to Eastern America and Canada, and they migrate to Central America. But I'll talk more about migration more in depth later. And they can usually be found in open woodlands, forest edges, meadows, grasslands, and in parks, gardens, and backyards. So when it comes to flight, ruby-throated hummingbirds can fly at 30 miles per hour and dive at 60 miles per hour. And it can flap its wings between 50 and 80 times per second. And an interesting fact about their flight is that these birds are one of the only bird species that have their wings attached to their shoulder joints. And this allows their wings to rotate 180 degrees. And they're the only bird that can fly forward, backward, and hover in the air. And this occurred through evolution and natural selection. It helps them to escape predators by quickly changing directions. And these traits can be seen in both males and females, and they start flying at around 2 weeks old. When it comes to songs and calls, ruby-throated hummingbirds, they don't sing, but they do have a call. And an interesting fact about the call is that aggressive behavior is often displayed after bird calls are enacted. So, in one experiment where hummingbird feeders were set up, when one bird approached another at a feeder, it was observed that the bird originally at the feeder would start to call at it, and then the other one would start calling back at it, and they'd be calling at each other until one bird eventually left. And its function there is to help maintain food and territory. This trait appears to exist among both males and females, but in a study it was mostly seen in males. And then for migration, ruby-throated hummingbirds are obligate migrants, meaning that they travel to the same place for migration every year on the same schedule. So for ruby-throated hummingbirds, males leave first because the females stay behind to take care of the young birds. And then they return from Mexico and Central America to these Eastern and Central American states and Canada in early March for the breeding season. And then they leave around late fall. And they do this just so they can have better access to food in the colder months. And then an interesting fact about ruby-throated hummingbirds when it comes to migration is that some Canadian birds only travel to Southern American states rather than Mexico and Central America because the journey is pretty long for them. And then I made a GIF on the map just to see in the bottom right corner what their migration patterns look like throughout the year. And then these are the sources that I used for my presentation, and that's everything. So thank you.